Hello, everyone. I'm the Scarred Storyteller, and I'm here to help you unwind today. If you're using this video to fall asleep, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel before you drift off. By the way, where are you watching from, and what time is it for you? Now, get cozy, relax, and let's begin. I don't know why I said yes. Maybe it was boredom. Maybe it was curiosity. But if I had known what would happen, I never would have agreed to go. It started with a group chat. My best friend, Aaron, had come up with the idea. He was always chasing some adrenaline rush, whether it was hiking dangerous trails or exploring creepy places. This time, he found a road. Check this out, Aaron said, posting a link in the chat. It was a forum thread about local urban legends, specifically about an old back road called Hollow Creek Road. People claimed it didn't exist on any map, but if you found it, you'd regret it. Stories varied. Some said it was haunted, others said it was cursed. Most agreed on one thing: people who went down that road didn't come back the same. Dude, we have to check it out, Aaron typed. I could almost hear the excitement in his voice. His girlfriend, Jenna, was less enthusiastic. This sounds like a bad idea, she wrote. You know how these things go. Exactly why we should do it, Aaron shot back. Come on, Tom. You're in, right? I hesitated. Jenna was right, it sounded like trouble. But I didn't want to be the guy who always played it safe. All right, I typed. Let's do it. We set out on a Friday evening, just as the sun was setting. Aaron drove, his beat-up Jeep rattling as we hit the gravel roads. Jenna sat up front, arms crossed, clearly annoyed. I was in the back, watching the landscape shift from suburban neighborhoods to open fields and dense woods. The directions we had were vague, pieced together from forum posts and blurry screenshots. It's just a road, I said, trying to lighten the mood. What's the worst that could happen? Jenna glared at me through the rearview mirror. Famous last words. The tension in the car was palpable as we navigated deeper into the countryside. The GPS gave up first, followed by cell service. Guess we're on our own now, Aaron said, grinning. He was too excited for his own good. It was nearly dark when we found it. The entrance to Hollow Creek Road wasn't marked, just a narrow dirt path barely wide enough for the Jeep. Aaron stopped, turning to us. Ready? No, Jenna said flatly. Aaron ignored her and turned onto the road. At first, it wasn't anything special. Just trees on either side, their branches forming a canopy that blocked out what little light remained. The dirt path was uneven, and the Jeep rocked with every bump. I stared out the window, trying to see past the trees, but it was pitch black. The only sound was the crunch of gravel and the occasional rustle of leaves. About 10 minutes in, things started to feel off. The air grew heavy, thick with humidity that clung to my skin. The trees seemed closer, their branches almost scraping the sides of the Jeep. And then there was the smell of faint, metallic tang, like rust or blood. I tried to ignore it, but Jenna spoke up. Do you smell that? She asked, her voice tight. Smell what? Aaron said, though I could see his grip on the wheel tighten. That metallic smell, she said. Like something's rotting. Probably just an old animal carcass, Aaron said, but he didn't sound convinced. We hit the first turn a few minutes later. Aaron slowed the Jeep, squinting through the windshield. The headlights barely pierced the darkness ahead. What the hell, he muttered. The road forked sharply, splitting into two paths. Neither was marked. Aaron pulled out the flashlight he kept in the glove compartment and leaned out the window, shining it down each path. Both looked identical: narrow, winding dirt roads disappearing into the darkness. Which way? He asked. Jenna didn't answer. I felt a strange unease creep up my spine. Left, I said, though I didn't know why. It just felt right. Aaron shrugged and turned left. The further we went, the stranger things became. The air grew colder, and the smell intensified. The trees no longer looked natural, their trunks twisted unnaturally, and their bark seemed to glisten, almost as if it were wet. The rustling sound grew louder, but there was no wind. And then, the jeep stalled. Aaron cursed, turning the key in the ignition. The engine sputtered but didn't start. "Great," he muttered, slamming the steering wheel. "Try again," I said, my voice shaky. He did, but the engine was dead. The silence was deafening. And then, we heard it. A low, guttural sound. It wasn't an animal. It wasn't human. It came from somewhere up ahead, echoing through the trees. "What the hell was that?" Jenna whispered, her face pale. Aaron grabbed the flashlight and opened his door. "Stay here," he said. "Are you insane?" Jenna hissed. "Don't go out there." "I'll just check it out," Aaron said. "It's probably nothing." Aaron disappeared into the darkness, the flashlight beam bobbing as he walked. Jenna and I sat in silence, listening. The sound came again, closer this time. My hands clenched into fists. I wanted to call out to Aaron, but something stopped me. A shadow moved outside the window. My breath caught in my throat. "Did you see that?" I whispered. Jenna nodded, her eyes wide. "Aaron," she called, her voice trembling. No response. Just the sound again, louder, almost, behind us. I turned slowly, dreading what I might see. Nothing. Just darkness. And then the flashlight dropped to the ground, its beam flickering. Aaron was gone. The next 20 minutes were a blur. We tried to call for help, but our phones were useless. The jeep wouldn't start, and the sound was everywhere now, circling us. Jenna was crying, and I was barely holding it together. "We have to leave," I said finally. "We can't stay here." "How?" Jenna asked. "We don't even know where we are." "Anywhere is better than here," I said. We grabbed the flashlight and started walking. Every step felt heavier, the air pressing down on us. The sound followed, growing louder, more aggressive. It wasn't just noise anymore, it was a presence, something unseen but undeniable. And then we saw it. The road ended abruptly, opening into a clearing. In the center stood an old, rusted sign. The paint was faded, but I could just make out the words. "No return." Before we could react, the sound reached a deafening pitch. Jenna screamed, and the flashlight went out. I woke up hours later, lying on the side of a highway. Jenna was beside me, unconscious but breathing. Aaron was never found. To this day, I don't know what happened. I don't know how we got out. But I'll never forget the smell, the sound, and that sign. Some roads shouldn't be traveled.